Most people spend their lives waiting. They wait for someone to notice their effort. They wait for the right moment to finally speak. They wait for permission, as if there will one day be a knock at the door and a voice saying, "It is your turn now." But that moment never comes. And so, silently, they learn to live small. They learn to smile politely while their heart aches for more. They learn to settle for a version of life that feels safe but starved. I know that waiting well. I lived it. I know the slow erosion of dreams when you tell yourself, maybe later, maybe when the time is right, maybe when I feel ready. But the truth I finally had to face was this: there is no later. There is no perfect timing. Life does not move in our favor because we wish for it. Life moves when we step forward, when we open our mouth, when we dare to ask. If you read this book to the end, you will not just learn how to ask. You will unlearn the fear that has kept you quiet for years. You will discover how to dismantle the belief that asking makes you weak, needy, or selfish. You will replace hesitation with clarity, apology with confidence, and waiting with action. And it will not be theory. You will feel the change in how you speak to yourself in the mirror, how you enter a room, how you hold yourself when you share your vision. Because asking is not a transaction. It is a declaration. It is the way you tell the world, I am here, I have value, and I will not shrink to fit your comfort. When you know how to ask, your relationships shift, your career accelerates, your confidence deepens, because you are no longer guessing if you are allowed to want more. You know you are. The philosophy at the heart of this book is simple but unshakable. You do not get what you deserve in life. You get what you ask for. And your ability to ask is not a matter of luck or talent. It is a skill, one you can train, one you can strengthen. Most people never live the life they imagine, not because they are unworthy or incapable, but because they never learned how to voice what they truly want. They play small, thinking it is humility, when in truth it is fear in disguise. The art of asking is not about begging. It is not about manipulation. It is not about forcing anyone's hand. It is about aligning your inner belief with your outer voice until they speak as one. It is about moving through the discomfort of visibility, the risk of rejection, and the vulnerability of saying, "This matters to me." Once you master that alignment, you stop waiting for life to happen to you. You start shaping it. Chapter 1. Train your mind to believe you deserve more. There is a silent script running in your mind that determines the size of your life. You may not even notice it, but it dictates how high you reach, how much you ask for, and how quickly you step back when someone hesitates. It is the belief you carry about what you deserve. If deep down you have decided you are only worthy of scraps, you will never demand the full meal. If somewhere in your story you absorbed the message that you should be grateful for whatever comes, you will apologize for wanting more. And if you quietly believe that your voice is not as important as everyone else's, you will live in a constant state of holding back, even when every part of you is aching to speak. It does not start with money. It does not start with your level of education. It does not even start with talent. It starts with the unseen verdict you have given yourself. You could be brilliant, gifted, hardworking, yet if you have convinced yourself you are not worth more, you will sabotage every opportunity before it has a chance to grow. You will downplay your own victories. You will take whatever is given without questioning if it is fair. You will tell yourself you are fine, even when you are not, because the thought of wanting more feels like stepping out of your place. But this is the truth you need to hold. There is no place you are meant to stay in forever. The limits you feel are not cement walls. They are beliefs, and beliefs can be rebuilt. The first renovation begins in the way you speak to yourself. For years, you might have whispered insults to your own reflection. calling yourself unprepared, unworthy, not enough. You might have excused away chances with the phrase, "I am not ready." But readiness is not a requirement for growth. Willingness is. When you start replacing self-criticism with self-respect, you will notice how your energy shifts. Saying to yourself each morning, "I am capable, I matter, I have something to offer," is not arrogance. It is truth. And truth spoken often enough becomes a habit. That habit becomes a posture. That posture becomes a life. Many of us grew up in homes where wanting more was treated like greed, where speaking up was seen as troublemaking, where the safest option was to keep quiet and take what you were given. Those lessons become normal, but they are not healthy. They are cages disguised as manners. You have to unlearn them. You have to say, "That may have been my past, but it will not define my future." And then you have to prove it to yourself first. Speak up when something feels unfair. Refuse to laugh off a comment that belittles you. Stop apologizing for taking up space in the world. The standard you accept for yourself becomes the ceiling of your life. If you want that ceiling higher, you must raise your standard. And raising your standard starts with asking for more. Not from entitlement, but from a deep respect for your own potential. Ask for more time if you need it. Ask for better treatment if you are being overlooked. Ask for the opportunities that align with your gifts. Asking is not a burden you place on others. It is a responsibility you owe yourself. People who value their own voice do not wait to be discovered. They step forward and speak clearly, not because they are fearless, but because they have decided their needs are valid. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of this shift. When you believe you deserve more, you enter rooms differently. You stop chasing people who cannot see your worth. You stop clinging to places that drain you. You no longer act like the backup option in your own life. And when you ask with this conviction, the world responds. Life notices when you move with certainty. Opportunities notice. People notice. But make no mistake, this is not a switch you flip overnight. You have been thinking in one direction for years, and momentum is powerful. That is why you must train your mind daily. The moment you catch yourself shrinking, stop. Replace the thought. Say to yourself, "I am learning, I am growing, I am worthy of more." These small declarations are not cliches. They are mental weights that build the muscle of self-belief. Over time, your inner voice will grow louder than your fear. And when that happens, you will stop settling. You will stop waiting. You will start asking, not with apology, but with strength. Because you finally understand that you are not here to live an average life. You are here to grow, to speak, to create. And every time you ask from that truth, you are stepping closer to the life you were meant to live. If you have read this far, it tells me you are tired of living in the shadow of your own potential. So take a moment right now to name one area of your life where you have been settling. Say it out loud. Let your ears hear your own truth. Then ask yourself, what would change if I truly believed I deserved more? Your answer is the first step. Do not just think it, write it, speak it, share it. And if these words have stirred something in you, share them with someone who needs to be reminded of their own worth. And subscribe so you do not miss the next shift that will change everything. Chapter 2. Ask without thinking you are bothering other people. There is a heaviness that settles in your chest when you believe that your needs are an inconvenience. You feel it before you speak. The tightness, the hesitation, the quiet voice that says, "Do not trouble them, do not be a burden." It disguises itself as politeness, but it is not courtesy. It is fear. Fear of being told no. Fear of being judged as too much. Fear that if you ask, people will see you as needy instead of strong. And so you swallow your questions. You silence your requests. You live in the tension between what you need and what you dare to say. But the truth is, asking is not a disruption. Asking is a form of action. It is a sign that you are awake in your own life. Everyone depends on someone else at some point. No one is entirely self-sufficient. And the people who grow the fastest are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who know how to ask for what they need. The false belief that asking is a burden often comes from the past. Maybe you grew up in a place where asking was met with irritation, punishment, or silence. Maybe every request was treated like a problem to be fixed rather than a conversation to be had. That conditioning becomes part of you until you decide to rewrite it. Rewriting begins with recognizing this. You are not interrupting someone's life when you ask for something that matters. You are inviting connection. You are creating clarity. You are giving people a chance to say yes. People are not mind readers. If you do not speak up, they cannot guess what you want, and they will not go out of their way to find out. Life will simply move on without you, and that is not fair to you or to the value you bring. The moment you stop linking asking with bothering, your entire energy shifts. You no longer shrink your requests to make them easier for someone else to accept. You no longer apologize before you have even spoken. You begin to speak from a place of self-respect, saying, "This is what I need," with calm clarity. That is not arrogance. It is honesty. And honesty delivered without hostility earns more trust than silence ever will. Of course, not everyone will welcome your ask. Some will say no. Some might act inconvenienced, but that is not your burden to carry. Their reaction belongs to them, not to you. You do not exist to make everyone comfortable. You exist to grow, to create, to contribute, and growth requires support. Support comes through questions, through clarity, through willingness to speak. Stop hoping people will notice you. Stop waiting for them to guess your needs. Stop dropping hints like crumbs and wondering why no one follows the trail. That is not communication. It is avoidance. And avoidance breeds resentment. If you want to stop feeling overlooked, you must stop overlooking your own voice. When you speak, keep it simple. Can you help me with this? Would you be open to this idea? Is it possible to? These are not demands. They are respectful requests. The people meant to walk with you will hear them with openness, even if they cannot say yes. The people who resist or mock your honesty were never meant to hold your trust in the first place. Think about the opportunities you have missed because you stayed silent, the help you never received, the clarity you never gained, the doors that stayed closed, not because they were locked, but because you never knocked. Asking is knocking. Sometimes the answer will be no, but sometimes that single question will open a door that changes everything. Your challenge is to ask anyway, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when your voice shakes. The more you do it, the lighter it becomes. Over time, your brain will stop sounding alarms every time you open your mouth. It will begin to see asking as growth, not danger. And when that happens, you will stop treating your needs like a disturbance and start treating them like what they are, a part of your life that deserves to be honored. If you have read this far, you know this truth is meant for you. So here is your next step. Identify one thing you have been holding back from asking for because you thought it might bother someone. Ask for it today, directly, calmly, without apology. Then come back and tell me what happened. If this chapter has given you the courage to try, share it with someone who has been living too quietly for too long. And subscribe so you never miss the next piece of this transformation. Chapter 3. Speak your needs even when you feel nervous. Your body has its own language for fear. You feel it in your palms when they sweat. You feel it in your chest when it tightens. You feel it in your throat when your voice tries to disappear. It is the body's way of saying, "This is dangerous." But speaking your needs is not danger. It is life. The nerves you feel are not proof that you should stay silent. They are proof that you care. You are standing on the edge of something that matters, and your body is simply bracing for the unknown. Most people back away when that nervous feeling rises. They mistake it for a warning to stop. They tell themselves it is not the right time, or maybe I do not really need this after all. But what they are really doing is avoiding discomfort. And over time, that avoidance becomes a habit. You feel something, you need something, but instead of speaking, you overthink, you retreat. You let the moment pass, then tell yourself it was for the best. But deep down, you know it was not. If you never speak your needs, you train the world to ignore them. People can only respond to what they can see and hear. If you stay silent, they assume you are fine. They move on. You remain unseen, not because your needs were unimportant, but because they were invisible. Silence is not safety, it is self-erasure. Confidence is not built by waiting until the fear disappears. Confidence is built by speaking while your hands still shake. Every time you do it, you send a message to yourself. My voice matters. My needs count. That message strengthens you. It reshapes your identity. It tells your nervous system that you can survive the moment, that you can stand in the discomfort without crumbling. Start small. Ask for clarity in a meeting. Tell a friend you need space. Request help on a task. These are not just conversations, they are training sessions for your courage. The first time, your voice may crack. The second time, your hands may tremble. But with every attempt, the fear loosens its grip. What once felt unbearable begins to feel normal. Many people believe that speaking up will make others think less of them. The truth is the opposite. People respect those who can express themselves with honesty. They may not always agree, but they will know where you stand. That clarity builds trust. It makes relationships stronger because there is no guessing, no pretending, no silent resentment growing in the dark. Not every need will be met, and that is okay. Unmet needs are better than unspoken ones. At least when you speak, you give life a chance to respond. You open a door, you show up for yourself, you prove to your own heart that you will not abandon it in the moments that matter. If you were raised in a home where speaking your truth was met with anger or punishment, this will take time. You will feel the old fear rise in your chest. You will hear the old warnings in your mind, but that is just the past echoing. It is not your present reality. You can break that pattern. You can teach your body that this time it is safe to speak. Your voice is your power. Not the polished, perfect voice you imagine you need, the real one you have right now. Use it. Speak even when your voice shakes. Speak even when your heart races. Speak because silence has never protected you. It has only kept you small. And if you are still here with me, it means you are ready to take that risk. So I will ask you, what is one truth you have been holding back because you felt nervous? Say it today. Say it to the person who needs to hear it. Let your voice out of its cage. And if this chapter has stirred your courage, share it with someone who has been waiting for the right moment that never comes. And subscribe so you can keep building the voice you were meant to use. Chapter 4. Stop waiting for permission and ask right now. You have been taught to wait, to raise your hand, to be chosen, to stay in line until someone else decides it is your turn. You have been conditioned to believe there will be a moment when the world taps you on the shoulder and says, "Now you are ready." But here is the truth no one told you. No one is coming to grant you permission. There is no gatekeeper waiting to unlock the door for you. The only person who can decide to move is you. Most people never get what they want because they wait too long. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they feel qualified. They wait until they believe the timing is perfect. And while they wait, someone else, less prepared, less experienced, sometimes even less talented, steps forward and asks. Those are the people who get the chance, not because they were more deserving, but because they acted without waiting for approval. The need for permission is rooted in fear. You fear that acting too soon will make you look foolish. You fear rejection, judgment, or being told you are out of place. That fear convinces you to play small. It whispers that if you just wait a little longer, you will feel ready. But readiness is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid risk. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. Growth rarely feels comfortable. You must stop treating asking as something you are allowed to do only when others give the green light. Asking is not a sign of arrogance. It is a sign of clarity. If you know what you want and it is fair, honest, and aligned with your values, you do not need to explain it to death or water it down for approval. You need to speak it directly, boldly, without apology. Playing safe your whole life does not lead to peace. It leads to regret. And regret is heavier than any rejection you will ever face. Think of the opportunities you have already seen pass by. Moments when you thought, that should have been mine. The only difference between you and the person who took it was that they acted while you hesitated. They did not ask if they were allowed. They decided they were. This shift is not about recklessness. It is about ownership. You own your time, your energy, your potential. And when you ask from that place of ownership, the answer matters less than the fact that you tried. Even if you hear no, you walk away knowing you acted, you showed up, you took your shot. That in itself builds strength. The moment you stop waiting for permission, you step into a different posture. You stop asking, am I allowed? And start asking, what is my next move? You stop waiting for someone to notice you and start making yourself visible. And once you make yourself visible, opportunities cannot ignore you forever. So here is your challenge. Think of one thing you have been delaying because you were waiting for someone to tell you it was okay. Ask for it today. Send the message. Make the call. Start the conversation. Do it without apology. Do it without rehearsing the perfect words. Do it because every moment you wait, the opportunity grows colder. And every moment you act, your life grows warmer. If this chapter has shaken you awake, share it with someone else who is still waiting for permission to live. And subscribe so you never miss the next step in turning your hesitation into action. Chapter 5. Learn how people think before you ask them. Every request you make is heard through the filter of another person's mind. And every mind is shaped by a unique blend of fears, values, priorities, and experiences. That means the way you frame your ask matters just as much as the ask itself. Most people skip this step. They charge into a conversation thinking only about what they want, assuming the other person will see it the same way. But assumption is the quickest path to resistance. If you want a yes, you must first understand the world through their eyes. Human beings make decisions based on how something feels to them, not to you. What seems like a reasonable, even small request in your mind might feel overwhelming in theirs. What you see as a fair trade might feel risky to them. This does not mean they are wrong. It means they are operating from their own reality. And if you want your words to land, you must step into that reality before you speak. Pay attention to patterns. Some people are logic-driven. They want numbers, facts, evidence. Others are emotion-driven. They need to feel trust, connection, and safety before they can agree. Some people value control. Push them, and they will pull away. Others value harmony. They might say yes just to avoid conflict, but resent it later. Learning to read these patterns is not manipulation, it is respect. You are not bending the truth, you are shaping your delivery so it can be received. Think of it like fitting a key into a lock. The key must match the shape of the lock or it will never turn, no matter how hard you twist. When you understand someone's decision-making style, you can shape your ask in a way that fits. Asking your manager for a raise? If they focus on performance, come with measurable results. If they value loyalty, highlight your commitment to the team. Asking your partner for more quality time. If they process slowly, give them space to think. If they feel ignored easily, be warm and attentive as you speak. This preparation shows maturity. It tells the other person that you have thought beyond your own desires, that you have considered their perspective. People notice when you do this. They feel it. It builds trust. And trust can turn a hesitant maybe into a confident yes. Not everyone will say yes, even when you understand them well. Some will still decline because the timing is wrong or their own fears are louder than your request. That is fine. The point is not to guarantee a yes. It is to create the best possible environment for a yes to happen. And even if the answer is no, your thoughtfulness earns you something just as valuable: respect. So before your next ask, pause. Ask yourself, what matters most to this person? What do they fear? How do they make decisions? What language, emotional or logical, do they speak best? Once you know, frame your words in a way that meets them where they are. This small shift could mean the difference between a door closing and a door swinging wide open. If this chapter has changed the way you think about asking, share it with someone who is tired of hitting walls with their requests, and subscribe so you can keep learning how to ask in a way that turns walls into doorways. Chapter 6. Remove the fear of hearing the word no. The smallest word can hold the heaviest weight. No. 2 letters, 1 syllable, yet for many it feels like a verdict. It is the moment your heart sinks, your stomach twists, and your mind floods with old memories. The teacher who dismissed your question, the parent who shut down your curiosity, the friend who made you feel foolish for asking. Over time, those moments fuse together into one loud message. Do not try, do not ask, it will just hurt. And so you learn to live in the shallow end of life, never venturing far enough to risk hearing the word that frightens you most. But here is the truth. No is not the monster you think it is. It is not a life sentence. It is not the universe telling you that you are unworthy. It is simply feedback, information, redirection. When you strip away the emotion you attach to it, no becomes what it truly is: a guidepost. It does not slam the door on you, it points you toward the right one. The fear of no is not about the word itself. It is about the meaning you have given it. Somewhere along the way, you decided that no means rejection of you as a person, that you are too much or not enough, that you have failed. But those meanings are lies. No almost always means not this, not now, or not this way. It does not mean never. And when you train your mind to hear no in that light, its grip on you loosens. The problem is that the human brain is wired to avoid pain, and rejection registers as pain. Neurologically, being told no activates the same areas in your brain as physical injury. That is why your chest tightens, why your throat feels like it is closing, why your mind races to escape the moment. But avoiding pain has a cost. You also avoid growth. You avoid learning. You avoid the life that exists on the other side of risk. The only way to break the fear of no is to face it enough times that your brain stops treating it like danger. Think of it like building a muscle. The first time you lift the weight, it feels heavy, even impossible. but you return the next day and the next, and your strength grows. Rejection works the same way. At first, it stings sharply, but with repeated exposure, the sting fades. You stop feeling crushed. You start feeling steady. This is why the people who succeed at the highest levels are not the ones who hear yes the most. They are the ones who survive the most no's. They are not immune to disappointment. They have simply learned to see no as part of the path, not proof of failure. For them, each no is a stepping stone that brings them closer to the right opportunity. They ask, they hear no, they adjust, they try again. While everyone else freezes in fear, they are still moving forward. If you want to join them, you must reframe no from a wound into a tool. When someone says no, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Was it the timing? My approach? Was I speaking to the wrong person? Treat each no as data, not as a personal attack. This shift transforms rejection from a stop sign into a compass. You also have to stop taking no personally. Most of the time, the reasons for someone's refusal have nothing to do with you. Maybe they are distracted. Maybe they are under pressure. Maybe they have their own fears about commitment, risk, or change. Their no reflects their reality, not your worth. Internalizing that truth is freedom. Start practicing with small asks where no will not crush you. Ask for a minor favor. Make a small request. And if you hear no, thank the person and move on. Your goal is not to change their mind. Your goal is to teach your brain that no is survivable. Each time you do, your emotional resilience grows. Over time, you will realize that no cannot break you. Only your fear of it can. Think about the cost of avoiding no. How many opportunities have slipped past you because you were too afraid to try? How many relationships could have been deeper if you had expressed what you needed? How many doors could have opened if you had simply knocked? Silence feels safe, but it carries the most dangerous consequence of all: regret. Regret is heavier than rejection. Rejection lasts a moment. Regret can last a lifetime. When you remember this, no becomes a small price to pay for the possibility of a yes. And here is something you might not expect. The more you face no, the more you appreciate it. Because no saves you from wasting time in the wrong places. It clears space for better opportunities. It sharpens your instincts about where to invest your energy. In this way, every no is not an obstacle. It is a filter. It keeps you from pouring yourself into people and paths that were never meant for you. There will still be moments when no stings, but when it comes, you will breathe, stand tall, and keep moving. That is the strength you are building now, the courage to keep asking, the refusal to shrink your dreams down to fit someone else's comfort. So here is your challenge. Ask for something this week that you know carries a real chance of hearing no. Do it on purpose. Do it to remind yourself that you can survive it. Then do it again and again until no becomes just another word you pass on your way to yes. If this chapter has given you a new way to hear rejection, share it with someone who has been living in fear of that tiny, heavy word. And subscribe so you can keep learning how to ask without apology, without hesitation, and without fear. Chapter 7. Practice asking until it feels normal to you. At first, asking feels like stepping into a cold ocean. You dip your foot in, feel the shock, and your body wants to retreat. Your heart beats faster. Your voice feels tight. Your mind begins its usual parade of doubts. What if they think I am selfish? What if they say no? What if I am bothering them? That hesitation does not come from nowhere. It comes from every moment in your past where asking led to discomfort. Times you were shut down, times you were ignored, times you were made to feel like wanting something was wrong. Your brain recorded those moments as warning signs. And now every time you want to speak up, it flashes them before your eyes. That is why the first ask always feels so unnatural. It goes against the habit of silence you have been rehearsing for years. And like any habit, the only way to break it is with consistent, deliberate action. Asking is a skill, and skills are not mastered by thinking about them. They are mastered by doing them again and again until they become second nature. You cannot expect to feel confident before you start. Confidence does not appear before action. It grows because of action. The more you ask, the more your nervous system learns that nothing catastrophic happens. You survive the moment. You learn something from the exchange. Even when you hear no, you keep breathing, you keep walking, you keep living. This repeated exposure is what rewires your brain to see asking as safe instead of dangerous. The people who ask with ease are not fearless. They are practiced. They have asked so many times that the act no longer carries the same emotional weight. They are not attaching their worth to the answer anymore. They know a no does not diminish their value, and a yes does not inflate it. Both are simply responses to a question. That detachment is freedom. To reach that place, you have to start small. Ask for a seat change at a cafe. Ask someone to clarify something in a meeting. Ask a friend for advice on a decision. These little moments may seem insignificant, but they are building the muscle you will need for bigger asks later. Each small success, and even each small refusal, strengthens your tolerance for the process. One of the greatest traps is overthinking your ask. You imagine every possible reaction, rehearse your response to each one, and in the process, exhaust yourself into silence. Overthinking is the mind's way of avoiding risk while pretending to prepare, but there is no preparation more powerful than simply doing it. The more you act, the less time fear has to multiply in your head. When asking becomes normal, it loses its power to paralyze you. It becomes as natural as any other form of communication. You stop making it an event and start treating it like a conversation. And when you approach it that way, you carry yourself differently, with more calm, more directness, and more respect for your own needs. Another thing happens when you practice regularly. You stop personalizing the outcome. You realize that people's answers have more to do with their circumstances than with your worthiness. Someone might say no because they are busy, distracted, or unable, none of which mean you were wrong to ask. This understanding removes the emotional sting and replaces it with perspective. Over time, asking becomes part of your identity. You become the person who does not wait for life to hand you what you want. You step forward and request it. You stop depending on others to guess your needs. You stop burying your desires under politeness and fear. And because you are asking more often, you are creating more chances for life to say yes. Do not underestimate the compounding effect of this habit. One small ask might lead to a conversation that leads to an opportunity that changes your direction entirely. But that chain reaction never begins if you stay silent. Every ask is a door, and the more doors you knock on, the more likely you are to find the ones that open. Your challenge is simple. For the next 30 days, make at least one intentional ask every day. Some will be small, some will feel uncomfortable, but each one will chip away at the fear and replace it with strength. Keep a record. Write down what you asked for, how you felt before and after, and what happened. Over time, you will notice something powerful. The fear will shrink, and the pride in yourself will grow. If this chapter has shown you that asking is a skill you can train like any other, share it with someone who still believes confidence is something you are born with. And subscribe so you can keep building the practice that will turn hesitation into habit, and habit into a life you chose for yourself. Chapter 8. Say exactly what you want without confusion. Most people think they are communicating clearly, but if you recorded their conversations and played them back, you would hear the truth. They speak in hints, in half phrases, in softened requests that leave the other person guessing. They say, "I feel like no one supports me," when what they mean is, "I would like you to be at the meeting with me." They say, "Things have been overwhelming," when what they mean is, "I need some time alone this weekend." The difference is massive. One is a vague emotional statement, the other is a clear, actionable request. And only one gives the other person a chance to respond in a way that actually helps. Why do we water down our words? Fear, Bustley. Fear of being seen as demanding. Fear of upsetting someone. Fear of looking selfish. So we hide our need inside a fog of politeness, hoping the other person will decode it. But people are not mind readers. The more vague you are, the more likely your need will go unmet. Not because the other person does not care, but because they simply do not understand what you are asking for. Clear communication is not rudeness. It is respect for yourself, for your time, and for the time of others. When you say exactly what you want, you eliminate confusion. You remove the mental gymnastics from the conversation. You make it easier for the other person to give you a real answer instead of a guess. And that is not just effective, it is kind. But before you can speak clearly, you must know clearly. That means pausing before you speak to ask yourself, what am I actually trying to get here? What is the real outcome I want? You cannot express something well if you have not defined it for yourself. Once you know, strip it down to its simplest, most direct form. The mind will try to complicate this step. It will tempt you to add extra explanations to soften the request so it feels less heavy. But every extra word increases the risk of being misunderstood. Clarity loves simplicity. Can you help me with this project? Is stronger than, I was wondering if maybe you had a bit of time, but only if it's not too much trouble, because I know you're busy. The second version sounds like you are asking for a favor you do not deserve. The first sounds like you are simply requesting help. Which one do you think earns more respect? Being direct does not mean being aggressive. Aggression dismisses the other person's feelings. Assertiveness respects both yours and theirs. The tone matters. Speak calmly. Speak without apology. Speak as if your need is valid, because it is. Clear asking is also a filter. If someone walks away from you because you spoke with honesty, they were never committed to understanding you in the first place. The right people will not be scared off by clarity. They will welcome it. It makes the relationship, whether personal or professional, cleaner, stronger, more trustworthy. You also owe this clarity to yourself. Stop telling yourself you are fine when you are not. Stop pretending you are okay with something that eats at you. Every time you ignore your truth, you create internal confusion. And the more confused you are inside, the harder it is to speak clearly outside. Take the time to get quiet with yourself. Ask what you truly want. Say it out loud in private first, if you need to. The more comfortable you are with hearing your own truth, the easier it becomes to share it with others. When you start speaking clearly, people will notice. They may even be startled at first, especially if you have a history of being vague. Some will adjust quickly. Others may resist because your new clarity disrupts the unspoken patterns they relied on. But hold your ground. Your needs are not up for decoding. If you are going to take the risk of asking, make sure you ask in a way that leaves no room for confusion. Here is your challenge. Today, think of something you want, but have been dancing around in conversation. Decide exactly how to say it in one sentence. Then speak it to the person who needs to hear it. Do not add extra explanation unless they ask. Let the words stand. Notice how it feels to be that direct. If this chapter has shown you the power of precision, Share it with someone who has been trapped in vague conversations for too long. And subscribe so you can keep building the skill that will turn every ask into a statement the world cannot ignore. Chapter 9. Ask from a place of confidence, not desperation. There is a certain energy people feel before you even finish speaking. It is in your posture, in your tone, in the way you hold your gaze. When you ask for something from a place of desperation, it leaks into every word. You lean forward too much. You speak too quickly. You over-explain. You try to convince them of your worth instead of standing in it. And whether they realize it consciously or not, the person you are speaking to senses it. Desperation feels heavy. It makes people cautious. It creates pressure where there should be possibility. Confidence, on the other hand, feels light and steady. It is not loud or flashy. It does not demand attention. It simply stands on the truth. I am worthy of this ask. I will be fine whether the answer is yes or no. That last part is important because the moment you act as if your entire self-worth depends on the outcome, you give away your power. People respond to energy more than words, and the energy of "I need this" or "I will collapse" triggers resistance, even in those who want to help you. The shift from desperation to confidence begins before you even open your mouth. It begins with the belief that your value does not depend on this one ask. Whether it is a job, a partnership, a raise, or support from a friend, you must remind yourself, this is not my only chance. If this door closes, another will open. I am not here to beg for my worth. I am here to state my request and allow the other person to decide. This mindset changes your body language. Your shoulders relax. Your voice slows down. You make eye contact without clinging to it. You stop filling the air with nervous chatter. You ask, then you leave space for the answer. That pause, the willingness to let silence hang for a moment, communicates more confidence than any polished speech could. It is tempting to think that desperation is simply a matter of circumstance, that if you really need something, of course you will come across that way. But the truth is, people who have trained themselves to hold steady can need something deeply and still ask with calm clarity. They understand that desperation makes them less effective, so they manage it before stepping into the conversation. They breathe, they prepare, they focus on what they can control, their delivery, their presence, their attitude, instead of clinging to what they cannot control, which is the other person's response. This does not mean you have to fake a cold, detached attitude. Confidence is not about pretending you do not care. It is about caring without collapsing. It is about staying grounded in the truth that you are still whole if you hear no. When you know that, you stop putting all the pressure on this one moment. You stop making the ask carry the weight of your entire future. People trust those who are self-assured. They feel safer saying yes when they know you will not fall apart if they say no. Your steadiness gives them space to respond honestly, without feeling manipulated by your urgency. This is why you must master the art of asking from a place of abundance, even if in that moment you are fighting through scarcity. If you want to practice, start with low-stakes situations. Before you ask for something, check your body. Are you leaning forward too much? Are your shoulders tense? Is your voice too fast or too high? Take a breath. Remind yourself, this ask is important, but it is not the end of me. Then speak simply, directly, and without rush. Over time, this becomes your default. You will notice that people respond more openly, more positively, when your energy is calm. You will also notice that you feel better about yourself after the ask, no matter the outcome, because you did not surrender your dignity in the process. So here is your challenge. The next time you have an important ask, spend 5 minutes beforehand grounding yourself. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, remind yourself of your worth. Visualize yourself hearing both yes and no and staying steady in either case. Then walk in and speak your request as if you already know you can handle the answer. If this chapter has helped you see the difference between confident asking and desperate asking, share it with someone whose fear has been weakening their voice. And subscribe so you can keep building the presence that turns every ask into an act of strength, not surrender. Chapter 10. Accept that not everyone will say yes and keep asking anyway. The idea that everyone should agree with you, support you, or give you what you ask for is not just unrealistic. It is exhausting. If you tie your willingness to ask to the guarantee of a yes, you will stop before you even begin. Life does not work that way. Some people will say no because they cannot. Some will say no because they will not. Some will say no for reasons you will never know. And if you let those rejections decide your future, you are giving strangers and skeptics more power over your life than they deserve. We often romanticize the yes as if it is the only measure of success. But the people who achieve extraordinary things are not the ones who only get yeses. They are the ones who keep asking after the no's. They understand that rejection is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every closed door you face is proof that you knocked. And the more doors you knock on, the more likely you are to find the ones that open. The reason most people stop asking after hearing no is that they take it personally. They attach their identity to the answer. A no becomes a statement about their value, their intelligence, or their potential. But that is a dangerous distortion. A no is almost always situational. The timing may be off. The person may have limited resources. Their priorities may be different from yours. None of those things erase your worth. They simply define the boundaries of that particular moment. When you stop taking rejection personally, you free yourself to move faster. You stop lingering in self-doubt and start redirecting your energy toward the next opportunity. You no longer waste days replaying the conversation in your head, wondering what you should have said differently. Instead, you extract the lesson, adjust your approach if needed, and try again. Think of it like fishing. You cast your line and sometimes the fish bites. Sometimes it does not. The absence of a catch does not mean there are no fish in the water. It means you cast again, maybe in a different spot, maybe with a different lure. You do not abandon the ocean just because one cast came back empty. This mindset also requires a healthy separation between your self-worth and the approval of others. If your value rises and falls based on how many people say yes to you, you will live in emotional chaos. But if you anchor your worth in who you are, your integrity, your effort, your resilience, then each no is just a bump in the road, not a dead end. One of the most liberating truths you can embrace is this: not everyone is meant to say yes to you. In fact, some no's are blessings in disguise. They save you from commitments that would have drained you. They push you toward better fits, better timing, better people. Looking back, you will see that some of the rejections that stung the most were the very ones that cleared the path for something greater. This does not mean rejection will feel good. It will still sting at times. But when it comes, you will not collapse. You will remind yourself that the answer is about circumstances, not identity. You will thank the person for their time, close that chapter, and step into the next. The people who thrive are not those who avoid no's. They are those who outlast them. So here is your challenge. Think of one ask you have been avoiding because you fear rejection. Make it this week. If the answer is no, thank them sincerely, and then immediately write down your next target. Another person, another place, another opportunity. Keep the momentum alive. Prove to yourself that one no cannot stop you. If this chapter has helped you release the need for universal agreement, Share it with someone who has been holding their dreams hostage to the approval of others. And subscribe so you can keep building the kind of persistence that turns every no into just another step toward your yes. Chapter 11. Ask with the mindset of creating mutual value. The most powerful asks are not one-sided. They are not framed as "give me what I want," but as "let us create something better together." When you ask from a place of mutual value, you shift the dynamic. You are no longer a taker asking for a handout. You are a contributor offering a partnership. This changes how people receive your words. Instead of feeling pressure, they feel possibility. Instead of calculating the cost, they start considering the gain. Too many people approach asking as a transaction where one wins and the other loses. They see the yes as proof that they have gained something at the other person's expense. That is why they over-apologize, over-explain, or avoid asking altogether. But the truth is, the most sustainable yeses happen when both sides benefit. It might be in obvious ways, like a fair exchange of money for service, or in less tangible ways, like trust, inspiration, or connection. The point is that you are not just taking, you are offering. This begins with preparation. Before you ask, step out of your own perspective and into theirs. Ask yourself, what do they value? What are they trying to achieve? How could my request align with their goals or desires? If you cannot see a way your ask benefits them, you will struggle to convince them, not because they are selfish, but because people naturally invest in what matters to them. Mutual value does not mean forcing a fake benefit just to make your ask sound appealing. It means identifying the genuine overlap between your need and their interest. If you are asking a manager for more resources, explain how it will help the team deliver stronger results. If you are asking a potential client for a meeting, show how your solution could solve a problem they have been carrying for too long. If you are asking a friend for help, let them know the joy or satisfaction they might feel in being part of your journey. When you present your ask through the lens of mutual value, the conversation changes. The person you are speaking to no longer feels like they are being drained. They feel like they are being invited. You become a collaborator rather than a competitor. This dynamic builds trust, and trust is often the deciding factor in whether someone says yes. Another benefit of this mindset is that it keeps you from feeling like you are begging. Desperation fades when you know you are offering something of worth in return. You carry yourself differently because you are not pleading for a favor. You are proposing an exchange that honors both sides. That confidence makes your ask stronger and your presence more persuasive. Of course, not every ask will have obvious mutual value, and that is okay. Sometimes you will need to ask for pure help with nothing to offer in return immediately. Even then, you can still frame it with respect. Acknowledge the cost to them. Express genuine gratitude. Let them know that if the situation were reversed, you would gladly give to them as they are giving to you. That awareness turns even a one-way ask into an act of dignity rather than entitlement. The people who succeed most at asking understand this simple truth. Value flows in both directions. Even when you think you are the only one receiving, your courage, trust, and vulnerability can be a gift to the other person. It can deepen the relationship. It can make them feel capable, needed, or appreciated. Human beings crave significance, and asking someone for their help or involvement can give them exactly that. So here is your challenge. Take an ask you are preparing to make and rewrite it through the lens of mutual value. Identify at least one way the other person benefits from saying yes. Then, when you make your request, speak to that benefit as clearly as you speak to your own need. Notice how it shifts the energy of the conversation. If this chapter has shown you that asking is not about taking but about creating, share it with someone who struggles to speak up because they think they have nothing to offer. And subscribe so you can keep learning how to turn every ask into a bridge that serves both sides. Chapter 12. Build trust so your asks are welcomed, not resisted. An ask is rarely judged only on its content. It is judged on who is asking. Two people can make the exact same request and get entirely different responses, not because one worded it better, but because one has earned the trust of the listener and the other has not. Trust is the soil in which your requests either grow or wither. Without it, even a simple ask can feel heavy to the other person. With it, even a big ask can feel natural and welcome. Trust is not built in the moment of the request. It is built long before. It grows from a history of honesty, consistency, and respect. When people see that you mean what you say, follow through on what you promise, and consider their perspective as much as your own, they begin to relax in your presence. And relaxed people are far more likely to say yes. Many fail at asking because they try to harvest before planting. They approach someone cold, with no relationship, no history, no foundation, and expect an instant yes. While this can happen, it is rare. More often, the yes is given to those who have invested time and energy in building connection. This is why the best networkers, leaders, and collaborators are not the ones who collect the most contacts. They are the ones who nurture the most trust. Building trust does not mean manipulating people into liking you. It means showing up with integrity over and over so that your presence becomes a signal of reliability. It means being as honest when the answer is inconvenient as you are when it is easy. It means giving before you ask, not as a transaction, but as a way of showing that you value the relationship beyond what you can get from it. When trust is strong, your asks land differently. Instead of hearing, "I want something from you," the other person hears, "I value our connection, and I believe we can work together on this." They know you would not ask lightly. They know you will respect their boundaries. They know that if they say yes, you will handle their effort with care. Even in professional settings, trust is the currency that opens doors. Think of the last time you recommended someone for an opportunity. You probably did it because you trusted them to deliver. The same principle works in reverse. When others trust you, they are more willing to stake their time, resources, or reputation on your request. The beautiful thing about trust is that it compounds. Each small action you take to honor a commitment, each time you listen deeply without judgment, each moment you keep a confidence, adds to the invisible account you hold with others. Then, when you do make an ask, you are drawing from a balance you have already built up. And people feel the difference. It does not feel like a withdrawal. It feels like a natural part of a healthy exchange. Trust also works as a buffer when you have to make a big or difficult ask. Without trust, a big ask feels like a risk to the other person. With trust, it feels like a challenge they are willing to take on because they believe in you. That belief is powerful, and it is only earned through time, consistency, and respect. So here is your challenge. Identify 3 people you may need to ask something from in the future. Starting today, focus on building or strengthening trust with them, not by giving gifts or flattery, but by showing reliability, honesty, and genuine interest in their needs and goals. When the time comes to ask, notice how much easier the conversation feels. If this chapter has helped you understand that asking begins long before the words leave your mouth, share it with someone who keeps trying to skip the step of building trust. And subscribe so you can keep learning how to create relationships where your asks are not just heard, they are welcomed. Chapter 13. Keep your asks simple and free from unnecessary weight. One of the fastest ways to weaken your ask is to overload it. You add extra explanations. You wrap it in apologies. You drag the conversation into long backstories that do not actually help the other person make a decision. All of this creates noise, and noise dilutes clarity. The truth is, the strongest asks are often the simplest. They are direct, specific, and light enough for the other person to process without feeling overwhelmed. When you pile too much weight onto an ask, you unconsciously signal to the listener that you expect resistance. You are already defending yourself before they have even reacted. This defensiveness puts them on guard. Instead of feeling invited into a straightforward exchange, they feel they are stepping into a negotiation full of pressure and expectation. Even if they were inclined to say yes, your delivery can make them hesitate. Simplicity begins with focus. Ask yourself, what exactly do I want from this person? Not 10 things, not a list of maybes. One clear thing. Once you know, strip away anything that does not serve that request directly. If you want a meeting, ask for the meeting. Do not bury it in a 20-minute explanation about your life story. If you want help on a project, ask for help. Do not disguise it as casual conversation and hope they guess. Simplicity also means timing your ask well. If you try to squeeze a request into an unrelated conversation, you risk making it feel awkward or manipulative. Give it its own space, let it breathe. And once you speak it, stop talking. Silence is uncomfortable for many people, and your instinct will be to fill it. But the pause is important. It gives the other person room to think without being crowded by your anxiety. You may think that keeping your ask simple will make it seem too blunt, but in reality, most people appreciate it. They do not have to dig through layers of words to find your meaning. They know exactly what you are asking and can respond accordingly. In a world full of overcomplication, simplicity is refreshing. The beauty of simplicity is that it also protects your energy. Over-explaining is exhausting. It drains you before you even hear the answer. And when you put so much emotional labor into framing your ask, you set yourself up for deeper disappointment if the answer is no. A clean, simple ask keeps your emotional investment balanced. You give the other person the choice without tying your self-worth to their decision. There is also a hidden strength in simplicity. It communicates confidence. When you speak clearly and briefly, it shows you believe your ask stands on its own merit. You are not begging for approval or padding it with unnecessary charm. You are trusting that the value of your request is enough. That quiet self-assurance is often what tips a decision in your favor. Think of it like writing a headline. A long, rambling sentence loses people. A sharp, focused line catches attention. Your ask should be that headline. Clear, memorable, and easy to say yes or no to. You can always provide more details after they agree, but the first step is to make the initial request impossible to misunderstand. So here is your challenge. Take one request you have been preparing to make and cut it down to its most essential form. Remove every extra sentence that does not directly serve the point. Then deliver it with steady eye contact, a calm voice, and no rush to fill the silence. Let the other person sit with it. You may be surprised at how often simplicity earns you the answer you want. If this chapter has helped you see that your ask does not need to be heavy to be strong, share it with someone who drowns their requests in too many words. And subscribe so you can keep learning the art of making every ask a clean, confident invitation instead of a tangled plea. Chapter 14. Reset your mindset so asking becomes part of who you are. By now, you have seen that asking is not a rare event. It is a way of living. But for many people, even after learning the techniques, there is still a shadow in the mind. That shadow is the old belief: asking is risky. Asking is selfish. Asking is something you do only when you are desperate. If you carry that belief, every request will feel heavier than it needs to be. That is why you must reset your mindset, not just your skills. You must replace the old script with one that empowers you to speak up naturally, without wrestling yourself into it every time. The reset begins with identity. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who tries to ask. See yourself as someone who communicates openly. When you shift from trying to becoming, everything changes. You no longer treat asking as an exception to your normal behavior. It becomes part of how you move through the world. You ask not because you are needy, but because you are engaged. You are in the game. You are shaping your life instead of waiting for it to shape you. This shift also means letting go of the idea that asking is a burden to others. People are not fragile glass that will shatter if you make a request. In truth, many feel honored when you trust them enough to involve them in your journey. Your ask is often an opportunity for them to contribute, to connect, to make a difference. When you see it that way, you stop apologizing for speaking up. The second part of the reset is reframing rejection. If you still treat no as a personal wound, you will keep hesitating. You must train your mind to see no as nothing more than a signpost. Not this path, not this time, not this way. That interpretation keeps you moving. It reminds you that your worth is unchanged and your options are endless. The more you practice this reframing, the less emotional weight you carry into each ask. Another essential part of the mindset reset is releasing the need for perfection. You will not always say it in the perfect way. You will sometimes stumble over your words. You will sometimes wish you had framed it differently. That is fine. The win is not in flawless delivery. The win is in making the ask at all. Action beats perfection every time. You also need to stop measuring your success only in yeses. Measure it in courage, in consistency, in the number of times you refuse to silence yourself. When you count those as wins, you train your brain to associate asking with empowerment rather than anxiety. You start to crave the clarity that comes from simply putting your needs into the world. A full mindset reset also requires awareness of your environment. If you are surrounded by people who punish honesty or mock your courage, it will be harder to maintain your growth. Seek out those who celebrate your voice. Practice with people who respond to openness with respect. The more safe spaces you create, the faster asking will feel natural to you. The final step is commitment. Decide that for the rest of your life, you will not let fear decide what you do or do not ask for. That decision is a line in the sand. It is you saying, "I will live in pursuit, not in hesitation." It does not mean you will never feel fear again. It means fear will no longer have the final vote. So here is your challenge. Write down 3 old beliefs about asking that have been holding you back. Then rewrite each one into a belief that serves you. Read them every morning for the next month. Let them become the voice that rises in you when you hesitate. Over time, you will not need the paper. The belief will live inside you. If this chapter has helped you see that asking is not a tactic but an identity, share it with someone who is ready to stop negotiating with fear. And subscribe so you can keep living with the boldness that makes asking as natural as breathing. Chapter 15. Step fully into the life you have been too afraid to ask for. There comes a point when all the lessons, all the mindset shifts, all the small daily asks must converge into one defining truth. This is your life, and no one else will hand it to you. The world is full of unspoken opportunities. relationships waiting to deepen, doors waiting to open, dreams waiting to be claimed. But they will remain untouched if you do not step forward and ask. Not timidly, not occasionally, fully, as if you already belong in the life you are reaching for. You have been told to wait. You have been told to prove yourself first. You have been told to shrink your desires so you do not inconvenience anyone. That story has stolen years from you. It has kept you in jobs you outgrew, in relationships that starved you, in rooms where your voice was silent. And for what? To keep the peace? To protect someone else's comfort? To avoid a no that you could have survived? There is no dignity in living small to avoid discomfort. There is only the slow erosion of your own spirit. Every time you silence your ask, you teach yourself that your needs do not matter as much as someone else's. And if you do that long enough, you forget what you even wanted in the first place. That is not humility. It is self-abandonment. But you are here now. Reading these words means you have already taken the first step toward reclaiming your voice. You have seen that asking is not about greed. It is about participation. It is about stepping into the exchange of life instead of standing on the sidelines, hoping someone will notice you. You have learned that no does not kill you, that confidence can be practiced, that clarity is kindness, and that trust is currency. You have learned that the ask is not the end, it is the beginning. Now you must decide, will you take this from concept to embodiment? Will you walk into rooms and speak your needs without apology? Will you look someone in the eye and tell them exactly what you want, not because you are entitled to it, but because you have the courage to claim it? Will you stop treating your life like something that happens to you and start treating it like something you are building, request by request, choice by choice? The truth is, the life you want will not arrive quietly. It must be invited. It must be pursued. And yes, you will be turned away at times. You will hear no more than once. But you will also hear yes in places you never imagined. And each yes will be sweeter because it came not from waiting, but from moving. There is someone out there right now holding something you need. Knowledge, opportunity, connection, support. They will not know to offer it unless you speak. The moment you ask, you give them a chance to say yes. You create the possibility that did not exist a second before. That is the power you hold in your voice. So step into it, not next month, not when you feel ready. Today, ask for what will move you forward. Ask for what will stretch you. Ask for what will make your life richer, fuller, truer. And when the fear rises, remind yourself, fear is not a stop sign. It is just the sound of growth knocking on the door. If you have made it this far, you are no longer someone who waits. You are someone who moves, someone who speaks, someone who claims. This is your turning point. Do not let it fade into memory. Turn it into movement. Ask and then ask again and again until the life you once only imagined becomes the life you are living every single day. If this final chapter has lit a fire in you, share it with someone who is still sitting quietly on the sidelines. And subscribe so you can keep walking in the boldness that transforms desire into reality and reality into a life fully claimed. Thank you for being here and listening with your whole heart. Life doesn't change overnight, but every time you pause to truly listen, you're planting a new seed in your mind. If these words resonate with you, please share them, because somewhere out there, someone who feels lost might just need a quiet whisper to remember they are not alone. And if you too need a daily companion on your journey, don't forget to stay here with me, because in this space, there will always be someone ready to walk with you and gently remind you, you are on the right path. Keep building your inner strength. Your growth doesn't stop here. Listen to the next one.